There we go. It is that time again. It is Friday. Gene, boom. Are you sure it's good? You are quick on the dial. And Gene, you need to send me your email from yesterday, my good friend. Did not receive it, and there's swag that went out. So I need that. Can everybody else hear? Yes. All right, guys. We're going to hop right into this. Everybody subscribe, smash, like, all of it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So little switcheroo today, if you will. We were going to do diagonals. I'm going to do that Monday. I have the entire presentation set, but we got so many requests for Howard and to kind of go through crypto that he did the other night that we're going to do a little crypto one today instead. And we're going to do our diagonals on Monday. All right. So crypto 2.0. Crypto 2.0. Is it too late? Is Bitcoin going to new highs? Right? What is going on here? The crypto space is very, very hot. We know that. So what I want to do is just dive right into it. Howard, step on up. Come on in, man. You guys all know Howard. If you don't, Howard is the go-to crypto guru. There is no question about it. He is known worldwide, and he is our coach here at Prosper. Howard, you here, man?
I am. How are you doing today, Scott?
There you are. I am doing great. So I will control the screen. You can talk about this. We're going to we're just going to run right through this, guys. Again, this is not going to be anything about what is the Ethereum blockchain, how is it formed, who is the Bitcoin guy, Satoshi, whatever his name is. This is going to be how can you make money trading crypto. So got to show you this one right here. This is just a disclaimer. It says all those good things about past performance, not necessarily indicative of future performance. So what Howard wants to talk to everybody about today is how you can confidently step into the next era of digital wealth. Okay, that is the bottom line. Why is the crypto space ready to be conquered again? Okay, and just a quick review of who Howard is. Okay, early blockchain architect. He is the founder of the ABCA, which I will let him tell you what it is. He's been doing this for 10 plus years, trading all the big ones, Ethereum, Bitcoin, all the altcoins since day one. You can see him anywhere. His articles, his commentary is published everywhere. He's a co-host of Quasar Markets Live, which you can get that weekly and daily. And he is a former cybersecurity wine distributor and restaurant owner. All right, Howard, you want to tell them just a little brief background of what ABCA is, and then let's pop into it.
Absolutely. Thanks, Scott. And thanks everybody for the kind comments. Robert, I'll talk a little bit about Ripple and XLM at the end for you there. ABCA is the American Blockchain and Cryptocurrency Association. I am the founder and president, co-founder. We work on the adoption and have been working on the adoption of crypto and blockchain in the federal space since 2017. So that's a lifetime when it comes to the world of crypto. We've worked to help get the FDA to use blockchain in food tracing. We worked with Medicare to try to speed up remittances. During COVID, we helped with COVID tracing through blockchain, and just trying to get them on the right stance. And then the second part, we work a lot with Congress and the Senate on bringing them education that is coming from true professionals on how to build or implement rules and regulations, hopefully that will steer us into the next generation of the financial future. We don't take any money from any big companies. We're not sponsored by Coinbase or any of them. We represent the individual investors, people like yourselves.
So Howard has been, the bottom line is, he is the leading go-to expert, and he has been in this from day one. So as you can see on the screen, what's crypto 2.0? Why now, right? Why now is Bitcoin is approaching all-time highs again. He's going to show you how literally you can get started with 50 to 100 bucks, show you some differences between the coins, where and how to buy and store safely, which is so important because I will tell you over the last several weeks, there have been some hack opportunities out there. Howard's going to tell you how you can totally avoid that. And then even if you're not a trader, how do you make money? Howard, what do you got here?
Okay, so just, as we were getting ready to open up the room, and I've been talking to Scott about it for the last couple of months before we, got to the point of ready to do it, I was playing around with my old Prosper account and putting some money in to be ready to start trading on it. The one I use for Prosper is not my personal account. It's one I use for the demonstrations and to trade live with everybody in the room. But while I was there, there was a couple of opportunities. And just in the last couple of months, I bought Bitcoin at 87K back at the end of February, and in March at 81K. Today it's at 103, 104 actually. So, if you're asking, is there still opportunity? Do we still have room to make great money? I think that's pretty good, up 25, 30% in a month or two. So, the time is ripe. Bitcoin, when it comes to liquidity, there's none there. Michael Saylor and the boys at MicroStrategy and XXI, which is Cantor Fitzgerald's ETF, are really changing the markets. And we're going to see a new explosion based upon that. Scott, you want to go to the next one there? So, what is crypto? Think of crypto as a digital asset that can be used to buy goods and services. It uses an online ledger with strong encryption to secure these online transactions. What is crypto? It's meant to be a replacement for the intermediaries of the financial markets, right? It is electronic cash. It's a way to move wealth or, an asset securely and quickly across the globe in a matter of minutes, not, days. So why crypto, or what about it that makes it so different? It isn't controlled by any government or bank. You have Bitcoin, Ethereum, and thousands of other coins that are all vying to do the same thing, which is to improve access, availability, freedom, control, innovation. They're built on what's called a blockchain. To me, it's the best invention since the Medici started ledgers back, a couple of thousand years ago in Italy, because not only does it provide the credits and debits, it provides timestamps, and it provides immutability, or the ability that it can't be, broken, and it provides the instant finality. And we're seeing that a lot across BlackRock, right, who is really getting into crypto now in a big way and blockchain in a big way. They have really gone a long way, quite honestly, when it comes to developing on blockchain and making it, accessible to everybody. So do I need to buy a whole coin? Is one of the great questions that we get asked a lot. Yeah. No, a lot of people look at Bitcoin's price over 100K and say, I can't afford it. But think of it more like a slice of pizza from a pizza pie. You can start with as little as $500 to $50 to $100. I always say 100 is sort of the level, because fees otherwise are what eat into you. And
in addition, I'm going to throw this in there also, because just like many of you know that Charlie and Mike and I all work together with our signals and bouncing ideas. Same with Howard and crypto. Even if it is not necessarily a crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever it may be, we're also discussing ideas in now the incredibly liquid ETFs like IBIT and some of the other ones that we can put out as a signal as well. So, you may look at Bitcoin and say $104,000, $105,000. I can't trade that. But like Howard said, you can trade just a teeny piece of that, or you can do something else to replicate it.
Yeah, I mean, I bet $50 right now in that range is a perfect example. And as Scott said, what is really different now than when we did the crypto room before is exactly all of these different, very liquid ways that we can trade both the upside and the downside potential that's there in these coins. So that's something that's very exciting for me, whether it's using IBIT or those ETFs. There's even Nano futures that we'll be using on Coinbase is going to be a big part of our room moving forward. Gives us access at about a 3 times leveraged way, the way that we used to trade with KuCoin. So we plan on doing that. But you definitely can start off, and your individual investments into each coin doesn't need to be thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars. You can do it with $100. And I usually say 100 because the fees under that kind of eat up into profits like it would for any trade, right?
Yeah, just like you're paying fees if you're trading options, stock, you're paying your commission. You got to keep that in mind as well.
How do we choose the right coin, and what's the difference between the coins? We're going to make it simple for you today. I want you to think of Bitcoin like it's digital gold. It's a storage of value. Secondly, is Ethereum. And then with Ethereum comes what we call all the layer ones, which are like all the different app stores out there, right? When you want to go get a new app for your phone, you're either going to the Apple store or the Google store or the Play store or whichever one it is, getting it. And that's the same thing. Ethereum acts as that. It is very similar to that. I always call Ethereum the Apple of app stores. And it's where developers are building out all their tech on top of it, the same way that people aren't creating new cell phones to do phone apps, right? All they're doing is providing the app, and Apple gives it the gateway to do it. We also see stable coins out there like USDC or Tether, and they're meant to be like digital dollars. They're a great way to move money across the globe. They're a great way to store your money while you're waiting to trade. We see it. And there are a lot of high APY, savings accounts just on Robinhood and Coinbase where you can earn almost 4% interest just on those. And then altcoins are everything else. They have a lot of different purposes. Some are like Swiss Army knives. They do a ton of things, and others are single-purpose tools. The key is you got to know which one you need for the job. So when I'm choosing a coin, how do I do that? I look at a purpose. Is this coin solve something? Does it do something that it needs blockchain to do? There's a lot of coins out there that are just based on the hype. They're based on the memes. I don't trade those very often. What we look for are the bricks and mortar of the crypto industry, things that are going to be there forever. It would be the same way as buying JP Morgan if you're interested in the financial sector. I want to be in those things. So,
and this one is so important, everybody, especially for security purposes. And in the room, Howard dives much deeper into security in terms of where do you want to have it. You see this little thing right here, Howard? You know what that is because you made it.
That's your treasure.
You hit me over the head about 40 times until I got one of these. This securely stores my crypto, so it is nowhere in the world that anybody can get to it. But go ahead, Howard.
And what I'll say to echo upon that is, I will say, back when we did the crypto room the first time, getting on exchanges was not easy and intuitive. I almost got fired before I started, as I gave Scott a great tip on buying Cardano at 17 cents. And for about a month and a half, he was unable to get verified on Binance and buy it. So that isn't the case anymore. I've had students already there that have been in the room yesterday that did it in a matter of minutes. The procedures are there. It's a different world, but you want to be with one of the major exchanges. Again, the same reason that you would want to trade probably with Schwab or Fidelity, you want to be with Coinbase, Kraken, Gemini. All you do is you link your bank account to it the same way you would for PayPal or any of the other things you're used to nowadays that weren't there in the old days, and you're ready to buy your coins in a matter of a minute. It really is just that simple. So Crypto 2.0, I keep saying that. What does it mean? Crypto 2.0 for me is the difference of needing to know how to code to just clicking a few buttons on your phone to trade. And it really started with the ETFs coming on. The apps, like I said, are simple. They're lower fees. They're easier access. You have ETFs on all these stock platforms, so much broader adoption. And we've moved from the geeky to the mainstream, right? It's not me buying it now. It's my father. It's my grandfather that are getting involved. And it's gone from risky to very regulated, right? The good news about all the bad hiccups you didn't go through in 2021 and 2022 with me is that now we are in a place where you can trust these companies, and there are ones like Coinbase that's part of the S&P 500. Keep that in mind, is that it isn't these fly-by-nights in the Seychelles or in Malta that you're dealing with.
Right. Huge. I mean, there's no way they would have been added to the S&P 500 if there was any sort of distraction risk that the SEC or whomever else would have thought could have taken this down. So.
And why is it different now? Because exactly that, it's easy. You don't have to be a cybersecurity expert to trade like you almost needed to be in the old days. Okay, so now you have two options. You're not a trader, you're not techie. What can I do? You can take what I've just talked about and you can try to go it on your own. You can look for YouTube channels, you can go on Twitter X, you can look at TV and the news. Or option number two, you can have me help you. You can this is what gets me the most excited. You can get some mentorship. I provide live trading, market walkthroughs. You're never left guessing. You're going to get real-time trading signals. What am I buying? What am I watching? What am I interested in today? And you get the tech behind it. Why should you be interested in it? Not just what are we trading? One of the things that I think Prosper does better than any other company is we don't just show you where the fish are. We teach you how to fish, right? And that's what our goal is here. I like to say it's almost like a GPS for your crypto trading.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. So how many of you so far, thought what Howard's talking about is pretty easy? Because again, I told you, we're not going into all the back end stuff. That's what Howard does in the room, right? The bottom line is you guys want to know how to make money from trading crypto. So this is really the system. Howard is the man. He has his own room, just like we have all of our other rooms here. He's going to walk you through everything that you need. And you know what? The reality is Crypto 2.0 again is here. Is it boom or bust? Some people look at it like that, right? Some people still can't stand it. But boy, some of the biggest naysayers in the world, Howard, you can throw out those biggest names have.
Yeah, I mean, they come every day. I just saw Kronos just became Jim Chanos, just as the latest convert, who came on this week on CNBC and talked that he's buying Bitcoin and short MicroStrategy as the newest carry trade. So you're seeing it. But Ray Dalio, JP Morgan, right, is just announced a public blockchain creation of doing their bonds. They're going to do it on Ondo. They're going to do it on Ethereum. They're literally going to have tokenized bonds trading. And, everybody is coming in, and we're seeing it in sovereign wealth funds. Abu Dhabi announced their sovereign wealth fund just doubled their holdings just yesterday. It was announced. Bought another $450 million worth of Bitcoin. They're up over $1 billion.
And you know what, Howard, I don't know if you see Elisa's question in here. Straightforward, but isn't this a little late to get on the bus?
Not at all. Not at all.
And correct me if I'm wrong here, but the bus goes in reverse also.
Yeah, and that's, absolutely, we'll be playing it on both sides. Exactly. What you want is volatility, right? I'd ask all you traders out there, what do you guys look for the most? I think, especially you Prosper students, volatility, right? That's what Bitcoin provides at almost a 3x volatility to the Qs. Yeah. So when I say we're going to trade nano futures that are a 3x leverage product, you're looking at about a 9% move versus what the Qs do on a regular basis.
For sure.
So that's what I would say, number one. And number two, no, again, even if you take, again, I'm not talking about the crazy $1 million and by next year things you've got by some people. But when you hear the ARC, Kathy Woods and her team break it down, JP Morgan and their teams break it down, Goldman Sachs, all of those guys, all of them have estimates of 250,000 as a conservative estimate in the next 18 months.
And let me also kind of clarify, and Howard, correct me if I'm wrong. Like you just said, this is not a get rich quick scheme. You're not looking to make $1 million overnight. You're not looking to get into the next Melania or Trump coin or fart coin or any of those.
Yeah, you will not find us in meme coins until they actually prove that they're tradable after years. So in other words, do I trade Doge now? Yes, I do, because it's proven that it's a tradable asset. It has to prove itself. We will take chances on up and coming coins, but there'll be up and coming coins that are in sectors that are going to solve stuff for that crypto solves and blockchain solves. Blockchain does solve, and that's where my background at ABCA separates me from a lot of people, is that I'm going to get into, okay, well, when it comes to sovereign identity, crypto and Bitcoin is the answer. So who's working in that sector? When it comes to, share GPU computing like you see with Render, who works with Apple on their GPUs. That's a token that's out there that's already there. So, we're going to look at things like that, the way that it goes.
So I'm going to run through this real quick. And if you have any questions for Howard, he'll answer. So this is what you get. It's another room. Okay. It's our VIP cryptocurrency program. Howard will be in there live, 10:30 to 1 Eastern every single day. Okay. You're going to get signals in the room. You'll get them emailed to you. You'll get them on the app, just like you do in our other rooms. You will get detailed analysis on current market events. As we know, this administration is very heavy, very pro crypto. There's lots of news coming out all the time. You get all of Howard's educational sessions, beginner and advanced traders. In fact, I just added this in here. This is Howard's watch list that went out this morning. So every morning you guys get a watch list from the rooms you're in. Howard sends one out also. He does a little recording, a little video, gives you a summary on what it's on, and you're going to get that every morning as well. So even if you're not available to, get into the room, you're going to absolutely know what is on his radar for the day. So bottom line, because we want to get to some other stuff here, it's $2,000. $2,000, you're in it for a year. Okay. There is a link here, offer.prospertrading.com/BTC. You can call into any of our reps, or if you're working with someone already on our sales team, great. 312-376-2214. And Howard's got a guarantee also. Same thing as we have in the other rooms as well. Okay. 10 winning live trade signals in just 90 days, not the whole year, guys. Not the whole year. It doesn't sound like a lot. It is. Okay. You will give you your money back. No questions asked. Okay. So this is what it is. You get your daily email watch list from Howard. You're going to get a beginner's overview on crypto course. You're going to get an advanced course. You're going to get his monthly altcoin report, the live room, the interaction with Howard. It's $2,000 a year. That is it, everybody. That is it. So let's get to the wheel. We're not done. We're going to open up to Q&A if anybody has any questions for Howard. But for the wheel today, guys, why Hondo? Because Howard's name is Crypto Hondo. So this is our wheel for the day today.
I love it.
Leave that up there for another moment or so. And while you're doing that, if you have any questions for Howard, throw them out here, guys.
I did see one already, Robert. You asked about XRP and XLM. I am more of a fan of Ripple XRP than I am of XLM. Reasons being there is I think the tech is very similar between the two, quite honestly. For those that know, the same guy who created XLM created Ripple, left Ripple and did that. But the thing is XRP was under intense SEC scrutiny under the last administration, unfairly sort of targeted. And during that time, XLM was given sort of a lot of leeway where they should have, quite honestly, just overtaken Ripple by light speed. And they didn't. And Ripple also has a ton of money behind it still, and they're spending that money. They are actually in the process of trying to purchase Circle, the company behind USDC. Jake, yep, announcements will definitely be on the Prosper app. Right now, they're coming from Danny. I screwed up trying to set it up, and it takes 7 days for them to reset it. So they'll be coming from Danny Greenberg, not Howard Greenberg, just so you know there. But they will be coming through the app there. So if you see an email from Danny that's talking crypto, don't get nervous. It is coming from me. Do you also generate income by investing in crypto and liquidity funds? So yeah, we will teach. John Helium's doing really well now. John Lessick, one of the guys from the old group there. Good to see you. Helium is now on a different platform. They're no longer on their own blockchain. They moved over, and that price has really recovered very well. And they've increased what they do with the cell phones and with in-store ability. They have a machine that basically tracks things that come through, how many people come through a store, how long were they in the store, things like that. So they're doing really well still there. I saw another one I was starting to generate. Yes, we will teach you how to stake your funds, how to become a automated market maker. You still have your Bobcat miner too. I love it, Jake. Awesome. So don't I. I use it still. We will definitely do those. We go into those more advanced things for sure, Ricardo. We'll go into staking, and yeah, if I have it and I'm holding it for long term, you better believe I'm staking it. I'm also a big fan of AAVE, which is a lending and borrowing protocol built upon, originally Ethereum, but available on a few different blockchains now, highly tied into what World Liberty, the Trump family sort of crypto venture there is going to try to do. What you're going to see in the, I forget who asked about, we missed the bus. No, we didn't miss the bus, because quite honestly, the use case of Bitcoin hasn't even fully developed. In other words, Bitcoin, what Michael Saylor and our Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick's company, Cantor Fitzgerald, and their partnership with Tether and Bitfinex is trying to do is they're trying to make their own banks, right? They're going to try to be the bank of Bitcoin. That is why you've seen the change to Strategy B, which will later, sometime, in my opinion, become basically the bank of Michael Saylor. And that's what he'll do, is they're trying to figure out all of the interworkings and making sure that their regulatory hurdles are cleared and that roadmaps are in place. But you're going to see the utility of Bitcoin is only scratching the surface. Right now, I call it a one-trick pony, which is a storage of value, but that's not what its future will be. Any other questions there?
Wheel is closed, everybody. We'll get to that in a moment here, but let me put this back up here. If you are interested, offer.prospertrading.com/BTC, or just call in, speak to your friendly rep that you always do. Those of you that are in Obval, looks like LOW is trading $2.80 at the moment. It looks like Dell is trading 75 cents again. So hopefully you've got those as well. Literally $2,000, everybody. You get Howard. Don't want to take up anyone else's or any more time. Excuse me. So let's get right to the wheel. All right. And we absolutely will be doing diagonals on Monday. Howard, give me a countdown to spin the wheel.
3, 2, 1.
There we go. I love the drum roll also. We got to get some background in there. Drew F or Deb? Drew F. We got a new winner today.
Congratulations.
Oh, man, excuse me. Drew F, are you in the house? Drew F, are you here?
Thanks, Gene.
There you are. Wonderful. Nicely done, Drew. I just put an email address up there. If you can shoot an email to me, that prosperswag@prospertrading.com. Send me your mailing address, your size swag. We will get some swag out to you, everybody. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a fantastic weekend. Okay. Have a great, great weekend. I know the weather here in Chicago is phenomenal. Hopefully my Cubbies sweep the White Sox this weekend.
There you go.
And everybody have a great one. Howard, thank you so much as always, buddy. We'll see
Thank you.
everybody on Monday.
Thank you.